As we saw from our previous video, you can work through a pattern and produce one scale after another, only changing one note at a time to get an entirely new scale. That idea is called the circle of fifths. If we move from the tonic to the fifth away, either a fifth up for the dominant or a fifth down for the subdominant, and add one note, one more sharp or one more flat, we can produce a new scale. Well, what that means is that there is a specific order that sharps and flats occur in a key signature. Meaning, if you have one sharp, it's always going to be the same one. And if you have two sharps, it's always going to be the same two sharps. That order for sharps is F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And it's important to know that it's the same order regardless of what clef you're in, though of course they will be in a slightly different place depending on your clef. If you're ever in doubt as to where the sharp or flat is applying to, just remember it's the hollow spot in each of them. The middle of a sharp, the middle of a flat, the middle of a natural, just as if it were a half note or a whole note. You're looking at the hollow spot in the middle. So when it comes to sharps, again, the order is F, C, G, D, A, E, B. If we have one sharp, it's always F. If we have three sharps, it's always F, and then C, and then G. If we have six sharps, it's always F, then C, then G, then D, then A, then E. Always in that order, always in that shape, always. This is something in which there's no interpretation, there's no disagreement, there's no nuance, there's a right answer, and there's a wrong answer. So in this case, you want to look carefully at this shape. If you want to think of it, some people think of it in groups of 2, 3, and then 2. Or sort of a zigzag up and then a zigzag down. However you want to think of it to get this order, it's very important that you memorize that. Common mistakes are to displace the octaves of the F or the G, sending those to the wrong octave. Just be aware that key signatures are very strict in the way that they are written. And the shape for sharps and the shape for flats isn't the same. So that's my order for sharps. If I were to think in terms of flats, then I would get B, E, A, D, G, C, F. And so again, the flats have their unique order. It is not the same as the order of sharps. Things like octaves matter. So in this case, the F and G are in the lower octave for flats, and they're in the higher octave for sharps. That's a very common mistake that people make, trying to put them in the same shape or the same orientation, or just putting them in whatever order they want. Even if you have the same right number of flats, and even if you have the same notes in that list, if you put them in a different order, like let's say you go alphabetically and then A flat and then B flat and then C flat and then D flat. No, that doesn't work. They have to be in this order. They have to be in this shape. They have to be in this octave. It's something that there's no dispute about. Now, astute musicians may have just noticed something about this. If my order of sharps is F, C, G, D, A, E, B, and my order of flats is B, E, A, D, G, C, F, well, what does that mean? That means that the order of sharps and flats are a mirror image of each other. Sharps is F, C, G, D, A, E, B, and flats are B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Well, what's the opposite of a sharp? What's a flat? Remember in the circle of fifths when sharps were going up 5 notes? Well, now flats are going down 5 notes. In so many ways, sharps and flats, sharp scales, sharp keys, and flat keys are an exact mirror reflection of each other. This is one of those ways. So if you think about the order in which we add them, you're starting from opposite sides that way. And then you can memorize this. So come up with a mnemonic device that you want to memorize the order of sharps. F, C, G, D, A, B could be fried chicken goes down awful easy, boys. Or it could be fat cats go down alleys eating birds. Or it could be anything you want. The funnier, the better, as long as you'll remember it. When you're thinking in terms of flats, B, E, A, D, G, C, F could be the word bead, B-E-A-D, and then GCF, maybe a greatest common factor if your math teachers have made you memorize that. Or you could just memorize the order of one of them and then flip it around. But in any case, you need to be able to do it rather quickly. So it's beneficial for most people to memorize both of them as almost as if they're separate lists. With this in mind, you know the order in which you have to add them. You know the order in which they occur, and that can help you in terms of building your own key signatures when you're writing or notating your own music.